All right, we can turn it off now before we get copyrighted. But what's up, guys? Yeah, they're like, guys, I like what you're doing there, but stop. Just stop it. But yeah, guys, welcome to the channel. This is Professor Die Hard, yours one and only Professor Die Hard. I'm joined by my good friend Aries from Aries Gaming Productions. What's going on, Aries?
Yo, what's up, everybody?
So we need to have a talk. We need to discuss a topic that honestly we just talked about today, just honestly a few minutes ago with me and Aries on the phone. And we have many examples to use, and just follow us through this little chat here. We want this to be an open discussion, so if anyone ever has any questions, please ask them, leave a comment, and we'll definitely get back to you. Aries, what do you think about DLC?
It fucking sucks for the most part.
Okay.
It's just really tricky because there's been times where DLC has really ended up saving a game, and there's been times where DLC has shit the bed for.
Sure.
It's just because the product's not finished. They're trying to come out with something that's going to be finished, or at least it's the part of it that would have been finished, but they're going to charge you extra for it because they can. I mean, like if you actually think about most of the DLC that you've actually bought for games, they never actually told you why they were making you buy the other half part of the game. You just bought it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, who gives a shit?
Yeah, you didn't question it.
But now people are actually starting to care more, and now that people are realizing that the game that came out last year actually had more content than the one that released this year, and it's like even people who play sports games, like all the EA sports games, Madden 2016, I can guarantee you probably had a little bit more content than Madden 2020. And it's just because a lot of developers are not getting a lot of time. They're being constrained with time. Their bosses are telling their bosses, hey, we gotta push something out. Like we can't go dry this year. Like if we go dry, that's the end of us. For this quarter, we gotta push something out. That's where you're getting a lot of the stuff that's not complete. But then they introduced the concept of a long time ago, and I know we already talked about this before on some other videos, but they basically said, okay, we can release about 75 to 80% of the product, and no one will jump down our throats. And then we release the other 20%, but we're going to charge people for it.
Like, do you know?
Stuff that should have been in the game, but is now.
Sure. Yeah. Do you know how much money in 2017 downloadable content made as the Wall Street Journal? 4.78 billion.
Yeah.
4.78 billion in 2017.
Ridiculous.
Microtransactions. How much money did microtransactions make? And this in 2016, it was $3.6 billion.
Yeah. God.
That's honestly, seriously nuts. And man, it makes you think, makes you wonder. And I love how the phone's going off. I think it's EA calling. EA's like, shut up.
They're on to us.
They're on to us. No, but it blows my mind.
Get up now!
Okay, there we go. Fine, stop. Okay, so we need to talk about some examples of good implementation of microtransactions. Where do you draw the line when it comes to DLC? Honestly, and this is okay. I think the biggest problem that DLCs have is, it may save a game. But the amount, I think it's like this. If a game is released and it doesn't sell as much as it should, and then a DLC comes to fix the problems, but it's at let's say a third of the cost of the game, or like maybe like a quarter of the cost of the game, that's still a lot of money for a DLC.
Yeah.
Now,
fix problems that people would argue should have already been fixed before the game was released.
Freaking Beavis is on here, bro. Do we need to get Beavis on the mic over here? Do you want to hop on? So let us know. He's on the chat.
Let's go ahead. Beavis, go ahead. Beavis, what are you doing? Get on.
Yeah. Just let me know if you get on.
We're talking to actually, Beavis, we're talking about actually something that you will really enjoy. So go ahead.
Sure. I just feel like that we get into the path that a game releases. It's a pretty okay game. We really enjoyed it. We thought a lot about it, but it's just not enough. Beavis can't get on. That's totally fine. Yeah, man. Good luck with finals, bro, for sure. and I feel like let's talk about good implementation of DLC. Fallout 3. All the Fallout DLCs, I feel like, in my opinion, were really good. You had the Pit, the Operation Anchorage, Point Lookout. But I'll have a counterpoint to that in a second. But like those DLCs were all fantastic. They were different like worlds you got to go to and go travel around and get new stuff. Fallout New Vegas as well. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, Matt. So now you go to Fallout New Vegas, same thing. A lot of good DLCs take you different places. Fallout 4. Now let's talk about Fallout 4. The DLCs, in my honest opinion, were garbage. Fallout 4's, I can't remember what it's called. Something about the shores, or you go to this foggy, like, you go to a different place, but honestly, it's not that good. The story is very meh. It's all over the place. It's very hit and miss. And then most of the DLC on Fallout 4 was the building. How you can build up your own settlements. The DLC was stupid. The building in Fallout 4 is probably the worst part about Fallout 4.
And that was like one of its like main kind of like
and
points.
it sucked. It sucked. There was no point to doing it. It didn't matter. I mean, it mattered for a little bit of a quest, but honestly, there was no reason to do it. It was very, very poor, very poorly optimized, and very poorly implemented into the game.
Which is actually kind of what I thought that 76 was going to try to do. Was that you already had kind of it's actually a good idea of letting you do like the building the settlements and stuff in like kind of the universe of Bethesda Studios and stuff. Because Bethesda still makes really good games. Forgetting about their recent flops with like 76 and stuff like that and their servers, but I think people kind of forget that it was still the studio that published Fallout 3, New Vegas, Fallout 4, Skyrim, Oblivion, Morrowind, even for people who play Morrowind. I haven't personally myself played Morrowind, but
yeah, I've heard it's a fantastic game, but yeah, sure.
What people have said, it's absolutely fantastic.
Sure, yeah.
So,
but let's talk about the poor implementation of microtransactions, and this is a very subjective thing to talk about. So what we may say may be different than what other people think.
Yeah.
But I gotta talk about the biggest one. We were talking on the phone about this just a second ago, Aries. Persona 5 Royal Edition.
Yeah. I know this pisses you off so bad because I know how much you love Persona 5.
Persona 5, in my honest... Oop, there goes my controller falling on the ground. Persona 5 is a fantastic game. It's only $20 right now on the PlayStation Store. It's a great JRPG. I mean, you need to get it and finish the game. Let me know what you think about it. It's really good. Because I think I got it when I was a RA or something at the time, and I let you borrow it or something. No, that was after I got done being an RA, and I let you borrow it, and it was fantastic. I loved it. Anywho, so they've done this before. They had I think the Persona 3 did it, I believe, but Persona 4 definitely did it. It was a new edition, a golden edition of Persona 4. That basically added a bunch of new content to it. That it just did a whole lot, added new characters, it made the game longer, and just yada yada yada. Well, Persona 5 did the exact same thing. And just the other day, I was on Facebook, and I told Aries about this as well. I was on Facebook, and I see a video about Persona 5, the Royal Edition, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to leave a comment and just genuinely ask, like, okay, what extra how much is this game worth? Like, honestly, like, what... And let me find the comment, honestly, because I think it's just better for me to read off of it than anything. I said, just how much extra content is there really? Is it enough to justify to purchase this game again at full price? Not trying to start an argument, but genuinely curious because I really love the game, but I don't know about this. One guy sent an article, and it was okay. He gave me a pretty good response. He said basically the gist is a bunch of quality life improvements, 2 new social links, counting the new party member, a customizable dungeon, another semester, and multiple new endings. I said, okay, appreciate it. Another guy said, also the game is awesome. So yeah, question mark. Another guy came in and popped in. He said, it is, but that doesn't justify it being a full price game again. I bought it for $40 on sale once, and I'd buy it for $40 or less, and I probably am going to buy it again. But full price is reaching too far to begin with. Another guy just said, I'll support it at full price. We need more turn-based JRPGs. It's a dying genre, unfortunately. All right, guys. So we need to talk about...
Yeah.
You go on.
Because I don't know, you just got to tell me this. I don't know really the context of what this guy's probably trying to say, but that guy is 100% correct in the aspect of JRPGs. JRPGs are a dying breed, ladies and gentlemen. They have been for a while. The West is not very interested in JRPGs.
Well, I have to.
We've always been more interested in action RPGs, first-person shooters, and action adventure games. That's just what the American markets have craved.
And that's
why
true.
Mario did so well.
That's a very true statement.
Mario did so well in the West because Mario 64 is a action adventure game.
Sure.
You can control Mario and go up it, and that's why Super Mario 64. People still play it today. People still stream it. It's one of the most popular games of all time. And it's because the American audiences really like it. Not to say that JRPGs don't have a place in American culture.
Yes.
Americans have traditionally loved JRPGs.
And I have one thought on that. I think and you may disagree with me on this, and that's totally okay. But this is just my subjective point of view on it. I think JRPGs, the quality of them has deteriorated horribly. I think that.
Absolutely.
I think, and I think that's another reason why they're dying. Now, okay, here's the thing: Persona are fantastic games. I played Persona 3. I didn't finish it because that the system they thought would be good, it was not good at all. God, I'm not gonna get into it. It's a good game, but it's still rough. I mean, you look like there's the guy you play as the main character literally looks like one of the guys from my middle school. He just looked all emo. Nothing against him, but he was like that emo kid that dressed up really weird. I mean, like that's basically how he looked. Not judging, but just it's funny. But those games have a lot to them. They're not only are they JRPGs, but there's different mechanics to them. Like you're traversing the world. There's different monsters you can attack and fight. The story is very immersive. You have a school simulator type thing going on where you're trying to get your grades up. Try to seem smart. You answer questions, and then you have the choices you have to make. So you have a lot of different stuff you can do with those JRPGs. But I just feel like there's just been so many other JRPGs. Cyber Sleuth. That was one JRPG. I did not play it. Only you played it at Ares.
Oh my God.
And
Cyber Sleuth is the fucking bomb.
So you like Cyber Sleuth, okay?
Yes,
But was there a lot of?
I love Cyber Sleuth so much.
But if you compare that to Persona 5, is there enough? Is there less to do or more to do than Persona 5?
I would say overall content,
overall.
As far as stuff you can do, I would say it's actually probably about the same, considering the amount of things you can do with both of them.
Okay.
So the best thing about, in my opinion, the best thing about Persona is that it gives you kind of the choice of the seasons, or the different things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You can do you can go for an entire time without fighting anybody. Like you can literally just kind of buy your time.
You're talking about the dungeons, yeah, because you can do different. You can focus on different things.
You can buy your time with the dungeons and be completely fine.
Yeah.
And then there's also a part where if you do it too much, you'll just be too fucking weak to actually take on the bosses and stuff. And the same thing is with Cyber Sleuth, where you can level up your guys, and if you don't level them up enough, or you don't go through enough of the stuff in time, you'll get absolutely destroyed by some of the bosses in Cyber Sleuth. They have no mercy. The bosses think that you're already at their level. So the bosses will just throw things at you. The game will just say, well, you should have been prepared for that.
Okay,
they're like, we gave you literally all the time in the world and you didn't prepare for it. So the game is fair in that aspect. And so that's what I like about JRPGs too, is that you can make them really fair, really unfair, and broken.
That's how Persona, the ending, the ending of Persona 5 is ridiculous. It is, God.
In Cyber Sleuth, you can get your guys so broken to the fact that, you just won't get touched. I mean, that's the best thing about MMORPGs, JRPGs, and RPGs in general is that the leveling system can make your character really broken very fast. And especially if you cheese the game, like I found out how to do it in Kingdom Hearts 2. There's literally a cheat to level your guy up to level 99 once you get to the last world. You can level him up in probably about the span of a couple hours.
Yo, there's a similar cheat for Persona 5. Like one of the days, it's like flu season. You go to one of the dungeons, and all the monsters. There's this monster. He's like the Grim Reaper, and he's supposed to be like the most broken guy to fight. Like he's insanely. You will not beat him. He's like level 99, super strong. Well, in flu season, he dies, and he just dies without you even attacking him, and then you'll get all that EXP, all that money every single time. So you'll level up a crap ton, just messing around, saving and reloading, and just getting that good RNG going. So you just kill the guy multiple times, and then you come out just insanely leveled up. Like I'm talking, you are just broken at the end. So you just literally cheese everything in the rest of the game. So it's kind of funny how that works. But yeah, continue on. Sorry.
No, so like in Kingdom Hearts 3, there's a skill that you do. It's basically called EXP Gainer, and you have to be anytime you're at half health, your EXP is doubled.
Oh wow!
So you go into the world that never was, which is the last world of KH2. If you've ever seen one of my speedruns on my channel, go watch
Aries Game Productions.
Yeah, but go watch some of mine, and I actually did a video on it too. Now that I recall it, I actually did a video on this busted piece of shit strat, and I think I got, between the 30 minutes that I did the stream on, I think I got like 10 levels, and I was at like level 77, and that was 30 minutes.
That is nuts. Yeah, wow.
So, I mean, imagine what you can do in about 2 hours.
Yeah, wow.
And, yeah, so you could literally spend 2 hours grinding Sora all the way up, and your party members gain pretty much the same levels that you do at a different time, because they level it differently. But Sora, Donald, and Goofy and Riku and your party members, because your party members in the world are scaled to you. So while you're gaining levels, the party members that you have in the other worlds will automatically gain levels, and they will match your level. And in most parts, because most of them will actually be level 99 before you are, because they're a higher level than you. So, so you can go back to like Aladdin's world.
Well, let's go back to the DLC. Let's go back to the DLC because I think we lost a little bit of track there.
So long story short, I mean, the practice of DLC itself is not terrible if it's meant to fix games and stuff like that. Like Warframe. I'm actually playing it right now. I just can't see it on the stream.
But how much money should DLC be charged?
Yeah,
that's the question.
That's a very good question. So
because Persona 5 Royal is charging you a full $60.
Full $60
full price.
Yeah.
You see, which that doesn't make sense to me in Aries, because I mean, if you think about it, like you've played the vast majority of that content already. Like, why are you paying for the same game again? When all it is extra stuff.
And this is what we just got through talking about. And this is just my take on it. And I think we kind of got almost a little bit spoiled, because we grew up in a different generation than what some of the kids now are doing, where the DLC is now to be expected in a game. Originally, whenever games launched, like there wasn't DLC. Like when the game launched, that was the game, and you had to deal with the shit that was in there.
Oh yeah, of course.
One of my best examples is going from people who play Super Smash Bros. Melee to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and you actually start to see, the kind of the shit you had to deal with before patches, before DLC prices, season passes, fighter passes, updates to characters, to fix bugs, like all that sort of stuff. Because in Super Smash Bros. Melee, there were things called phantom hits, where your character would hit the other character.
They wouldn't do anything.
It would not knock them back, but they would still take percent. And so that's in Melee. And it's in there forever.
Yeah, you can't fix that unless they do a remaster or something.
Any copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee, you will come across a phantom hit.
Yeah.
And you couldn't patch it out. You couldn't. I mean, you just you have to go with the flow. And a lot of people thought that was what made games interesting. Was that okay? Well, you have this kind of mechanic in the game that whether it's an action game, RPG, fighter.
I think it's Skyrim when you're fighting trolls that they hit you and you go flying in the air, like you just go skyrocketing, I was playing the other day and I was just like, yeah, just getting back to Skyrim. Then I get hit by it and I go flying in the air and I got taken out of my immersion. Then I thought about it, I was like, oh, that's kind of funny, honestly. I mean, it's so stupid that wouldn't happen, but I go to the freaking sun in Skyrim, so that's cool. Space travel. DLC.
So when I think of a completed game, I think of a game that does not require any DLC, and that doesn't mean just added content. That means content that's locked into discs. And because
we're looking at new Destiny.
Because technically the game is already completed, and it already has the information on the disc in the game. But you have to pay to unlock it from the disc.
See, again, Destiny, man. That was the biggest, worst. Oh my god.
There was I would argue there's a worse version of it, and it was in Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
You see, I don't play any of the Street Fighter games or Tekken,
so this was way back in like 2013, I think, when Street Fighter Cross Tekken launched, and then somebody had hacked the data for the PC version. And they were like, oh shit, what's this? They realized that half the character roster was already on the disc. And legit, half of the roster was literally on the disc. And they charged people for the DLC. Capcom did. And
that's
not just Capcom, Bandai Namco did it too because it was a joint partnership. And so Bandai Namco knew about that shit too. And the Angry Joe actually did a review of Street Fighter Cross Tekken. You can actually go watch it. And of course he did one for another one, infamous one, that's still hailed as one of the greatest games of all time, Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Angry Joe kind of joked about it and said, oh, what are they going to come up with? An Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3? And then what do you know? A fucking year later they come out with Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And he was beside himself.
He was like, I was a joke! He was a
joke! But, I mean, they legitimately did that shit. Destiny 2 did it. Both Destinies did it. Really, I mean, honestly.
I mean, I'm just going to say this right here, right now. I think the worst implementation of DLC in any video game has to be Destiny. I mean, I would rather play Persona 5. I would pay full price if I had a choice. Persona 5 Royal Edition.
Again. Versus anything
Destiny.
from Destiny 1 and 2.
Because I'm just saying, people argue. I remember I was playing Arma the other a while ago. This is earlier this year, and I made a comment about Destiny, and a guy was like, I was like, guys, did you hear about the new DLC coming out? He says, no, what's the new DLC? I was like, oh, well, sorry, not DLC. It came with, if you pre-order the game, it's the microscope edition, and you actually have to use the microscope to find the content. And it's actually, and one of the guys got so mad. He was like, "Dude, I actually play Destiny a lot, man. It's gotten so much better. People who yell and get mad about it, they don't know what they're talking about. Have you played the new DLC?" I'm like, "No, you moron, because there's nothing to play."
Because also too, the fun fact of it was, or the kind of the non-fun fact of it was that okay, let's just say, in this perfect world that he's orchestrated for Destiny 2, this Destiny and Destiny 2 apologist, and let's just say that, let's just say what he's saying is true. Let's just say Destiny 1 came out fucking sucked. Get a year into Destiny 1 and go, oh, okay, they released a DLC and a DLC pack and a couple other stuff, and you go, okay, well, yeah, the game is significantly better. Why? Because they locked the content that was supposed to be in the game, which would have made the game better already at
But you know what makes that even worse? You know what's worse than just that? Like, you want to know what's worse? When you bought the game, in the freaking inside the container, there's a little slip of paper that says, pre-order the season pass.
Yeah.
They knew in advance, like way in advance. This is like, you know, premeditated murder. I mean, like, good God, they premeditated how much they were going to screw people over. And BioWare, I think, are they not? That wasn't BioWare. I'm sorry. Who did Destiny? Bungie.
Activision.
No, Bungie was the team that made it. Activision's the publisher.
Activision's the publisher. Yeah.
Well, Bungie's no longer with Activision. I don't believe.
They split. Yeah.
So, I'm just going to say this. Maybe Activision is known for being shady. So maybe this was just all a bunch of, you know, it was all their fault, and Bungie had nothing to do with it because they weren't in control over it. So maybe with this new game that Bungie releases,
it's kind of what we found out with the other game. It was with I don't know if it was Mass Effect. No, it wasn't Mass Effect. It was Anthem. Whenever we found out that,
oh my gosh,
people thought that Activision was actually the one that screwed it up, when in reality, it was actually fucking whatever the developer, BioWare. That was actually BioWare's fault. The main branch of BioWare.
It was the people in charge. They were changing things. And when people, I think the problem with getting mad at a whole company, people need to get upset at the people that were in charge of the developers and the progress of the game, and they were idiots with that. So that's basically like the cool kids or the people who have A's in all their classes. They're like, we have a high grade. We don't have to worry about anything until it gets closer to time. And then the time gets closer, and the professor's like, hey, you know, where's your paper at, or where's your project at? It's like, oh, okay, let's put it all together last night. And I mean, they basically lied. They lied what was going to be in the game. The trailer before the game even came out was a lie. So much stuff was cut out, it wasn't even funny. And they're actually going back and completely redoing the entire game ground to bottom, if I can speak, from the ground up. So that's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with that. But honestly, God, I mean, there's a reason why that game is trash and no one wants to play it. Let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
Now, as you guys can see, I'm actually playing it right now. I'm not actually playing the game. I'm just in the pause menu. I'm in the world of Arendelle, so I'm enjoying that in a weird way. I don't know. It's like that's a whole other topic. So I'm playing Kingdom Hearts 3, and then a trailer leaked about the new DLC coming out called Remind, and you know, the biggest thing me and Aries have thought about they took out Final Fantasy characters. Why in the world would you take Final Fantasy out of Kingdom Hearts, which Final Fantasy was like one of the biggest pillars that made the game what it was? You took it out completely. It doesn't make sense to me. But for DLC, you're putting it back in.
Yeah.
Just think about that. I mean, one of the very first characters you meet on the island is a bunch of other Final Fantasy characters. Like, they're all over the place.
Like 10, 9.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Because like you fight one of the guys.
Even Kingdom Hearts 2, people forget that Final Fantasy 9 character was one of the first characters you actually fight in the game. It was Vivi from Final Fantasy 9. You actually fight him as Roxas, and you get to fight like a taken over version of him essentially, but it's still Vivi, and so you know the worst thing about the and it pains me to say this because I really like Square. Square is one of my favorite companies, and the worst thing about it though was that the decision to take out Final Fantasy characters was completely Square's fault. They basically said the Kingdom Hearts franchise had enough characters to support their own universe, their own story, because they had made so many games and so many characters had been introduced. But people didn't really think that was a good excuse because they were like, well, you had plenty of characters by the time that some of the other games came out, and you still added Final Fantasy characters.
You know what my argument to that is? You know what I think happened? Think about the worlds that are in Kingdom Hearts 3. You have Frozen, Entangled. Right there, you have and Toy Story, mind you. some of the biggest movies like Disney's ever made. Like the biggest characters, like Frozen already is like still #1 movie in the world right now after like for 2 weeks, I think, or 3 weeks, which is insane because the movie's fantastic. I've seen it 3 times. There's a whole other conversation. Yes, I am a 24 male. Sometimes you gotta, enjoy yourself. But
2019 love wins.
I'm dead. But see, that's not even a part of it. Everyone thought that. Okay, that's a whole other discussion. Anywho, I think what happened is all their money and budget went to just being able to pay Disney to get all their characters, all the Disney worlds in this game.
And they didn't need anything else for like.
And there was nothing left for Final Fantasy. Because think about it. Most of the time, Final Fantasy characters reprise their roles in the games, like the voice actors.
Which was fantastic.
But do you know? If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. Indina Menzel is in this game. She plays Elsa. Kristen Bell.
They got her to come back and re-sing the "Let It Go" song.
I didn't know they actually did that, but they actually fixed from
They got her to actually to do the song over again.
Yeah, and Anna, Kristen Bell, I'm pretty sure she's in it too.
I want to say she is, but the thing about it though is that a lot of people don't realize that the Kairi in Kingdom Hearts 3 is not the same Kairi. It's not Hayden Panettiere.
Yeah, I honestly, as I'm thinking about it, yeah, she does sound a little bit different, doesn't she?
Yeah. So it's because it's a lot higher pitch voice. Hayden Panettiere's voice is a lot deeper, and it's not as childlike.
Maybe that's because she's growing up, and like maybe she needs a deeper voice. Maybe I don't know. That's a good point. I understand what you're saying.
But the best thing about the KH cast was that they all kind of aged naturally into their roles, Haley Joel Osment, I think, was like 11 or 12, I think, when he did Sora for the first time.
Wow.
And then you go that, fast forward 4 years later to Kingdom Hearts 2, and he sounds completely different.
Yeah.
Because he hit puberty fucking hard between those years.
Yeah, the balls dropped on that one for sure.
And David, the best thing about having Riku's voice actor, David Gallagher, was that David Gallagher was already I think maybe in his kind of mid-teens when he did Riku, so his voice really didn't ever change. He still had the kind of the Riku sexy voice like that. That's why everybody who was a girl fan of Kingdom Hearts loved Riku, because he kind of had that kind of bad boy sexy Riku voice to him.
But think about how much money they had to pay Indina Menzel and Kristen Bell to come back to reprise their roles.
Yeah.
Okay, think about how much money it would have taken if for Tom Hanks to be who. There's no way. There's no way.
That's
There's no way.
Get his brother to do it. Yeah.
What, is that actually his brother?
Yeah, it's his brother.
You're kidding me.
No, it's just a cheaper version of Tom Hanks.
You're actually kidding me. That's his brother who does the voice?
It's his brother. That's why it sounds so good.
Yeah, and Buzz Lightyear, I mean, you can't really replace, what's his name?
Tim Allen.
You can't really replace Tim Allen, but he does a pretty good job too. But
he actually still does. It's an impression of Tim Allen,
but it's a good impression.
It's a damn good one.
It's all, and the guy who played Ham, I mean, he came back. He's always in stuff.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, but as I'm trying to say here, and just the quality of the game, how gorgeous it looks. They didn't have to. The graphics didn't have to be that good, and wow, It didn't. Look at all the other games, and just look at how amazing. Because most of the games were on DS and mostly DS.
One of the main series titles is on DS. Dream Drop Distance.
Yep.
That's where all that stuff leading up to KH3 is on. It's on the DS. Well, they did an HD remix for it, for the story so far, Kingdom Hearts, and even that actually is pretty good.
Sure.
For the actual what they're doing for it, but even then, I mean, the only ones that were released on console at the time in the US was just vanilla Kingdom Hearts 1 and vanilla Kingdom Hearts 2. If you wanted to play
you had to buy a DS.
You had to play it on the Game Boy.
You see, that makes me wonder how that. Okay, this could be a whole other video, but like back to the whole DLC thing. But like, it just makes, and that's a great point to talk about, because that's not only DLC. Technically, it is DLC, because like, even though you can't even freaking play it on the PS2, you have to buy a freaking DS or a Game Boy just to be able to play the other games, which is nuts, because you have to play the other games to understand the freaking story. So I mean, that's a whole. You can make you can make some connections there.
Yeah. But did you watch the 40-minute video?
I did. I watched an hour-long video explaining it. Like, I get it now completely. There's some things I may be a little hazy on, because I'm thinking of actually picking up the games just so I can go back through. But as I'm sitting here just talking about this, is DLC ruining... Whoop, I just unpaused the game. Whoops. Is DLC ruining gaming? I think it depends on where you look. I think if it's done in a way that's, I don't know, that's healthy for the game. And what does healthy mean? You have to have developers who are wanting to issue out a product that is full, that is, and that's another subjective term. What is a full game? What is a game that has enough content that justifies a full price? And honestly, that's hugely debated right now. It's a very big debated thing. I honestly think that there's a genre. I don't think fighting games are worth $60. Like, I will argue that till the crows come home. I don't think it's worth. And like, just think about, you're paying that much money just for a fighting game. Like, you only have a minute amount of characters, and I will say this: Soul Calibur 6 is probably worth $60. Honestly, Soul Calibur, I will jump on that train and say yes, because I actually played it. It was good. It wasn't my cup of tea.
Because the character creation alone is probably, in the story for the characters, like the character creation stuff, that's probably alone is worth $30.
And not only just that, you can do like the journey mode where you do like this whole other thing and you fight people. I mean, there's a story mode that's just for your customized character, which is really cool. Like, I mean, they did some really cool things with it. So I mean, I can't fault them for that. So that's my point here. So that's worth it. But in games like Injustice 2, not worth $60. Games like Street Fighter, not worth $60. I would even say
Street Fighter 5 was an abomination.
Okay, I thought you were going to say it was. I was like, really? Come on.
Street Fighter 5 is AIDS.
Yeah, it's
like Street Fighter 5 is literally the disease that we couldn't get rid of.
Yeah,
and it's just perpetuated too, because now I'm sure you might have seen this on YouTube. They released a trailer for it, the Champion Edition or whatever it is, and because there's the arcade version, which was for free, where they basically said, hey, we'll give you all the free updates for free because we know we fucked up on the release of it. And I said, okay, that's fine. The Champion Edition said, oh, you spent all that money on the costumes that you wanted for the characters and stuff. Oh, we're going to release a version where it's free.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean, it's like, not right. Yeah, I would even argue that Tekken is not really worth $60, honestly.
Tekken's worth $60.
I see. That's more your games, but like I think we can both agree that at least Street Fighter's not.
Fucking Street Fighter. Yeah, hell no.
Yeah. So again, the vast majority.
Tekken might be worth it. Tekken 7 might be worth it just for the actual story mode too for Tekken. Because story mode is pretty bomb, not gonna lie.
And
from
that's
someone
okay.
Who really does traditionally not like Tekken story modes, because I thought they were trash for the most part.
And that's fine, yeah. But like I'm saying, like that's my debate. Like I'm trying to have here is that yes, I mean you may think it's $60, but if you really look at it, the story is good. But all you're doing is just fighting people one-on-one.
Yeah, it's not, even Street Fighter, as bad as it is, actually has a team battle mode now, where you can actually do 5v5 with the cast. So
but it's still one-on-one fights, though.
Yeah, it's still one-on-one fights. Whereas even Jump Force had the Jump Force had the ability for you to do 3-on-3, or if you just want to play as one character the entire time, you can still play as one character. And
see, I think the biggest misstep Jump Force had is they took out 2v2. That is the stupidest decision.
Oh, that was
because I love J stars. Everyone complains about J stars. I love J stars.
We've had so much fun with J stars. It's not even funny. And that game had no DLC. Also,
no, it was that I would. I think the story was that game worth $60. I don't know. No, I think
that's why the 40. Price got lowered. Yeah, the price got lowered to it when I think it first released.
Sure.
They released it for 60, and then it immediately became like $20.
Yeah.
And
30 or 40 max.
Yeah. That was the price to pay for Jump Force. And honestly, I think I probably paid like $19 for it, like right at $19. And that was a steal for me because
for Jump Force.
For J Stars.
Oh yeah, $20 is worth. Yeah, for sure, $20.
Jump Force. Jump Force is still fun if you like traditional, like if you're like me and you like traditional fighters, and you like kind of the one-on-one aspect, or you like the kind of the 3v3 one-on-one type of thing, and make people rage quit on your videos. Then yeah, sure. I mean, it's still. I had 3 rage quits in one video. Y'all should go watch it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I was there. I think for one of them.
So but the DLC for that too, for Jump Force, is unforgivable. They don't even let you have the option to buy characters individually. You have to buy the season pass.
That is trash. That's unforgivable.
Which is honestly why I haven't played Jump Force since the summer. I mean, I haven't played it at all since the summer.
Well, the idea of gaming should be accessible to everybody. It should be inclusive, you know, and maybe when I think of
splitting your player base, anything that you do is always a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea for sure. And I think that you should be able to pick what you want. You know, $5.99 per character it's pretty steep. I would do at least $2.99, maybe $4.99 max.
Now, the only time that I really have liked DLC recently for some games that I really have liked is something like Dissidia NT. So Dissidia is automatically good because you have co-op, you have the 3v3 aspect, you have basically a party that you can build with like 3 guys and then you versus another 3 guys. But for the most part, what me and Di did was just do like us, maybe an AI on our team, and then like boost the other AI to an absurd rank, and then just body them because we actually got really good at the game.
Sure.
Actually,
yeah.
Di got good.
Yeah, it was fun because I hated the game at first and I raged because I just didn't get the mechanics, and I'm just not a big fighter.
You also played me
one-on-one. That wasn't that wasn't a good idea. That was bad.
I was even then because I said, "You sure?" And you're like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." And I was like,
All right, because Ares doesn't pull punches. He literally, like, if a little kid wanted to have a snowball fight, he would just drop a boulder on the kid.
I'm bringing an MG42 to a snow fight.
Yeah, I mean, literally, and it's funny, but no. So, in my opinion, I think a full price game, and I know this is not DLC, but a full price game should include, I'm talking at least 30 to 60 hours worth of content.
Yeah.
30, I would even push it to like maybe 40 to 60, maybe 50 to 60. Like, keep it high because you are paying $60, $65. You need to have some bang for your buck there. Now, I don't know, Battlefront 2 was not worth $60. Wasn't even worth $120. I knew a guy who paid $120. Biggest, you know him. He was an RA. Bless his freaking soul. Yeah, I was like, you absolute fool. If anyone bought the $120 edition, you were a damn fool. Because guess what? You're not seeing anything. Where was the return on that money? Oh, it's nowhere to be found. They pocketed that crap because everyone knows how good Battlefront 2 is. And guess what? They added the Republic. So yeah, Republic. No, they were wrong for the treatment they put on people with Battlefront 2.
Now, the best thing about Battlefront 2 is that once the game actually came out, they didn't separate the player base. Everything came out at once, no matter how sometimes buggy the fucking updates were. Especially when we played it during the summer, some of the updates were just atrocious. But it didn't separate the player base. Things came in for free. They did the free updates and stuff like that.
Well, they had to. That was the only way the game was going to survive.
They had to. But giving them their credit, even if they had to, they still did it. So to their credit, you know, they still implemented it, which was nice.
You see, I don't even believe in saying credit just because we shouldn't have to say good job EA for being a good company.
For releasing for starting to release your game completed, which we still have to remember. Battlefront 2 is not completed game. It's that as much as we play it, our streams and stuff, even that game is not fully completed. And it's
the story's horrible. It's forgettable. It's trash. Oh my lord.
If you want to give your money to something that will give you 30 to 60 hours of gameplay content, then if you have a Switch, go ahead and invest in the Fighters Pass in Smash Bros. Because that gives you
all the characters,
it gives. Well, not only do you get every single character that was ever created for Smash as the base of the game.
Yeah, Smash is worth $60 easy. I mean, there's no going against that.
As the base, but then the DLC says, "Oh, you guys wanted some cool characters. Here's Joker from Persona 5. Here's fucking Terry Bogard. You get the music, the stage. You get him as a playable character. Joker's fucking dope in that game, by the way. If you haven't played it,
he's dope.
You get fucking Terry Bogard.
Yep.
From the Fatal Fury King of Fighters series.
Yep.
You get the hero from Dragon Quest, Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo and Kazooie.
So I need to make one comment just on that. That's why I think when you compare that game to Tekken, that Tekken's not worth $60. Because the amount of characters, maps you can fight on, soundtracks, music, just in the music alone, that's a third of the game.
Yeah. The music, I think when the game actually came out for Smash, there was like 28 hours of consecutive music if you played it from start to finish.
That is nuts.
There was a full day's worth of music. You could go literally 24 hours, not sleep, and still have songs to listen to.
But that's my point. Think about other fighting games. They don't have enough content to them.
Well, if you're going to make the argument for soundtrack, then Tekken was definitely worth $60, because Tekken has every track.
But 28 hours worth of 28 hours worth
for Tekken 7, not 28 hours. It was probably Tekken is probably somewhere between 20 and 22 hours if you actually listen to most of the tracks.
It's that long. I would.
Yeah, Tekken 7 literally has every single track
from every game.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, I'll give you that. But okay, anywho, I'll get off that tangent.
Yeah. So, but but the thing I want to touch a little bit more on was just for since we were talking about it earlier in the phone. So, like my affection for Kingdom Hearts goes back way. I mean, it goes way back in the day. It's one of the first games I ever played on the PS. It's probably it might have been my first game I ever played on the PS2, and then right after that was, of course, my favorite fighting game of all time, which was Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. And for some reason, I played that before any of the other Budokais. I don't know why. But still, I played all three of the original Budokais. I never played Tenkaichi 1, but I played Tenkaichi 2 and 3. And Tenkaichi 2 was actually cool because you could level up your characters. But it was the first time you could do that, I think, in a fighting game, was that you actually had a leveling up for your fighting game characters. And but KH3, what kind of really dragged me down about it was that I could just tell whenever you beat the base game, you can tell that they saved so much of their money and their time into developing Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's not even funny. When you actually, after you beat the game, which you're actually close to doing, believe it or not, if you're in Arendelle, you're pretty close to beating the game.
Well, it's a pretty short game then.
It's about 30 hours.
I mean, I'm breezing through it.
Yeah. So the thing about Kingdom Hearts 3 is that we already kind of touched about, why is there no Final Fantasy characters in a Square Enix produced game, but there's which the series was known for having it. Cloud Sephiroth fights. The Sephiroth fight is not in the base game. Instead, you fight the secret boss is some fucking
Don't spoil it.
heartless sword wielder thing. But that's basically your bonus boss that you get. The Remind DLC is supposed to bring back the Data Organization fights, which will be pretty dope. The Data Org fights in PH2 are awesome. They're so much fun. They're fucking hard as shit. They're so fun to do.
But the DLC was said to be free, but now it's not free anymore.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. So they came out originally and said all the content for KH3 will be free. It will not. You will not have to pay for it. It will be free updates, all that sort of stuff. And somewhere along the line, they said, I don't think that's entirely true. I think we're gonna ride this thing to the end. And that's what I just can't understand about what they're doing with KH3 is that they already know they left so much stuff out of the game that Nomura probably wanted to put in the game, and that Disney was probably like, hey, we gotta make some money on this. Like, you guys have been developing this since 2015. We gotta get rid of this thing. And Nomura probably said fine, okay. He probably had enough pressure on him from the execs at Square and Disney to release the game as it is. And that's why they're having to go back and probably do a bunch of story explanation that's going to be in the DLC. So not only do you not get the whatever content, bonus content that's going to be on the DLC, you don't get some of the story explanation as to why things are happening in KH3, which the Kingdom Hearts franchise story is convoluted enough as it is. And now you're going to put in DLC that's trying to explain this jarbled mess.
Well, I mean, I have to argue that like it's not the first time they've done it. I mean, they think about all the games they released.
It's not just KH3. I mean, it's the 1.5 remix they did on PS3.
2.5, 2.8,
2.8, 0.2. Kingdom Hearts, the story thus far.
358 over 2.
They have absolutely milked the shit out of anything that they could possibly do with Kingdom Hearts, which sucks,
for sure.
Because Kingdom Hearts used to kind of not many people were too big a fans of Kingdom Hearts. People played it, but nobody was ever googly gaga over just like the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. And even then, for people that played 2, they probably didn't play Chain of Memories because it was a Game Boy Advance only game. So, and if you wanted to play the actual console version of it, you had to be Japanese. That was the prerequisite for playing Chain of Memories on console. You had to be Japanese. And it's so terrible, but that's literally the only way you could play it until it got released in the States 10 years later. And that's what the bad thing was about the point. And the bad thing about it though was that after you played them, you're like, they're going to come out with a version that's going to include everything, aren't there? Aren't they going to release it? And sure enough, they did. Kingdom Hearts, the story thus far, which I think one of those versions actually includes Kingdom Hearts 3. So you could have actually bought Kingdom Hearts 3 for a cheaper price than $60 with every other fucking Kingdom Hearts game imaginable. And whatever, have at it. But the idea that whenever I got Kingdom Hearts 3, and whenever I played it, was still good. It's still probably one of my favorite RPGs. Kingdom Hearts 3 is, and that's just because the story is really good for people who kept up with the story. It answers a lot. It goes into depth a lot, actually. For as much as I say it doesn't, most of the stuff around Xehanort is actually very carefully kind of divulged once you kind of get towards the Keyblade Graveyard and stuff. Which I'm not gonna do spoilers in the video, but you get a sense of what Nomura's goal behind that character is, because Nomura actually does not like Sora as a character. Nomura, when he created Kingdom Hearts, he was like, yeah, Sora's supposed to be kind of a really good guy. And that's why he actually So Nomura actually thinks that Xehanort is actually the more realistic character. He thinks that Xehanort, in some aspect, is actually the more kind of character that you actually kind of get closer towards, which is very interesting, especially for somebody that's making a game based off of, you know, combining things with Disney lore and stuff like that. The bad guy is actually pretty genuine. So, so for even for that, and the organization members too, if you actually listen to what some of them are actually saying, instead of just what a lot of people are doing is skipping the fucking cutscenes that they don't like somebody's voice or something like that. You actually come to actually like most of the members of the organization because they just have so much more personality. They like their personality is like towering above Sora's, as far as like what the characters actually sound like, what their motives are, things like that. Especially Riku. I mean, Riku's story alone probably could have made another game. Like, not even Kingdom Hearts related. It probably could just have been a different game. But back to oh god, I'm talking again. Our DLC stuff. But yeah, I would have to say DLC for the most part. It can be good, but it's just in my experience the most time that people have actually done DLC for different games that have come out. It's just not been. It really hasn't helped the game too much at all, and it's just kind of been.
I'm back.
Oh god, I didn't even know what.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I was basically just saying, like, my I guess my real thoughts on the DLC, like, they basically haven't, like, they haven't hindered or helped games for some parts whenever they have released DLC, but I just feel like in my experience, looking at things that have had DLC in it, it really just has more so hurt the games that have come out than has actually ended up helping them. And that's why I don't know if DLC can even be really considered just good in an overall sense. Because if you actually look at some of the stuff, like some of my favorite games that have been released on the new gen, or Xbox One, PS4, Switch, Wii U even, it was just like the DLC that came out was either super segregatory, that split the player base on some stuff, especially first-person shooters, or in fighting games where characters were locked behind a paywall, and it was almost impossible to earn them. Or you have different parts of the RPG where if you spend $2, you get a fucking broken weapon and can ease your way through the entire game. And or you get, you know, even fucking fighters, Mortal Kombat. You'd spend $5 to get like what, easy fatalities or something like that, or Injustice 2 I think had something else where you could buy like different gear sets because they were still like talking about customizing your heroes and stuff, and that would help you do better in like the multiverse levels that you could go into to get like different gear or fight bosses. And I don't know. I just don't know. Like it's.
I feel like at the end of the day, DLC implementation isn't regulated, and it's very subjective of what qualifies DLC, how much it should cost, and like the level of DLC, like how heavy it is in a game. Look at any Dynasty Warriors games, any Koei Tecmo, any Square Enix games, you're going to find microtransactions up the wazoo. Because that's just what they do. But at the end of the day, I just feel like we should probably go on and just wrap up the discussion here, and just because we're about to be at an hour. I think that if DLC is used for the right purposes, if a game is 60 plus hours, like I'm talking, if it's a long game, I would say 30 to 60 hours. I'll be fair. Like God of War, I don't know how long that game. I think it's like 30 hours. Maybe more than that. It's a long game. No DLC. but it doesn't need the DLC because it's a really good game. If there was extra stuff to be put into it, that'd be cool. I think people would really enjoy that. And only the fans' response to a game will determine if the game was truly good. Now, what do I mean by that? No one can ever dispute how good Battlefront 2 was. The original Battlefront 2. And not many people know this, but there actually was DLC on the original Xbox for Battlefront 2. No one remembers it, but it added Rinvar Harbor back into the game because Battlefront 1 had that match, or that map. And it also added in Cloud City, where it added in 2 new heroes, Kit Fisto and Asajj Ventress. No one remembers that, but I do. And guess what? Battlefront 2 had a great story. It had a great multiplayer. I never played multiplayer in Battlefront 2, but great multiplayer. So people still play it today. They just put it back online, I think. Just overall, it was so much. That game stands the test of time because you can pick it up now and it's still fantastic.
Actually, I did a little bit when I went to Nashville this last week. We played a little bit of that, and man, I instantly got sucked into that shit.
Mm-hmm. I would say Battlefront 2 does war games better than Battlefield does. Better than Call of Duty. I would say I would argue that it's probably one of the best simulations of battle or war in any game ever made. It's sci-fi, obviously, but yeah, that's all I want to say. I feel like we have to be careful as consumers. Your wallet determines what developers will do, and there's obviously a market for DLC because I mean they're making like $4 billion a year on it.
Yeah.
So guys, vote with your wallet. Be conscientious of what you're buying, and is it worth it in the end? Because the more you buy that DLC, granted, if it's good DLC, it's good. But there is, I can't remember the saying, but basically, the more you feed a stray, the more it comes back, right? Well, I think it's the same philosophy here with gaming. The more you buy that extra stuff, the more these developers will try to get more and more out of you in the future. So be safe.
And the more, the more you're going to get bent over a table.
And some people aren't good at stretching anymore. So I mean, you got to be really careful. But yeah, guys. But that's any other final things you want to say, Aries?
No, just final thoughts on that. Or just the DLC stuff. I mean, if it's used for good stuff, it's going to be good. If it's not, and it's just used to advance, like in corporate greed, which is what I think for the majority part it has been, then it won't be. And I think it's going to be up to publishers and people who are designing games, developers, to come up with a way to actually make sense of it. Because I honestly, I just think the PS4 and the Xbox One era, people are just sick and tired of it. I think it kind of shows, and I think people are kind of catching on to it a little bit, and people are starting to realize that it's kind of hurting their wallets a little bit more than they originally thought it was going to. And
the consumer will buy a lot. The gaming market is if something's good enough, people will fork out the money. That's not a healthy thing to know, but it's a very true statement. And I just think that developers know that, and they're willing to sell you whatever they can to get as much money out of you as possible. So be smart, be conscientious of your wallet. Don't just agree. One of the biggest things I'm trying to change in my life is just just consenting to the other person's argument and being like, oh, okay, well maybe they're right. I'm getting to the point where like I'm really over that. I think that if you have a different opinion, stand up and say it. Stick with it, stick by it. And it's only people's opinions like this that I feel like that change can actually happen in our world, especially the world of gaming. It's a great thing to debate and talk about these things. So keep it going, guys. Keep it going. So this has been Professor Diehard. Please do me a huge favor. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If not, that's all good. Leave a dislike if you didn't like the video. Let me know what you do or do not like. If you have any things you want us to talk about or any things you want to go into, just leave a comment. Tell us what you want to see in the future. Please go check out Aries Gaming Productions on his YouTube channel. He's always doing things here and there. I don't think he's anything recently, but also work has been insane. So, go check him out. He may be doing some stuff here soon. But look at his previous videos. A lot of funny ones of rage quits and all that other good stuff. And cyber sleuth.
The one video I thought about doing was potentially actually doing the full video of either KH1 or KH2 speedrun, since I have not been able to do one in a while.
Yeah, do it, man.
Will probably give me the opportunity to actually do a full-fledged one, which will be amazing. But that's a possibility on probably on Saturday.
What is like the shortest game? What is like the world? What's like the shortest time to someone's beat it?
I want to say it's like between.
Could you beat it in 45 minutes?
No.
Okay, it's like an hour.
No.
Hour and a half.
No, I think the shortest one was probably somewhere between like 3.5 hours.
Jeez, that's nuts. Well, find it, man. To beat the game in an hour.
Yeah, God.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, guys, so we're going to end the stream here. Hope you guys liked it. Again, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Aries, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. This is Professor Diehard. Deuces.